Welcome on over to Automotive World, everyone. I'm your host for Name Mystery, and tonight we have a huge story coming out of Ford. This is not the first time we've seen Ford do a recall in their videos. We have covered many of them on the channel themselves. This specifically is the 32nd recall Ford has issued this year over their vehicles. And tonight's recall entails almost 31,000 units affected, specifically 30,735 units affected from the Ford Motor Company over steering components, specifically on 2022 to 2023, certain 2022 to 2023 Ford Mustang vehicles. This is not including things like the Mach-E, their electric SUVs and things. This is including the tried and true sports car itself, the Ford Mustang, the muscle car, the king of them. We have a summary here from Ford saying that certain 2022 to 2023 Ford Mustang vehicles are being recalled due to the secondary steering torque sensor, which may not be calibrated properly. That can cause the wheel to turn to one side against the driver's intentions. Obviously, that's a serious issue. Ford does have a remedy. Dealers are going to update that power module steering control system. They're going to update that software. It's going to be free of charge. Those letters are expected to be mailed August 5th to owners. And obviously, if you are an owner of these vehicles, you can contact Ford directly. You can call their customer service number, or you can go down to your local dealer. This is obviously a big thing. Obviously, you don't want your car to automatically steer to one side, even if that's not your intention because of a software issue. Although 30,735 vehicles, that is a lot of vehicles. There are vehicles that obviously sell more than that in a year, but keep in mind that with the current sales of the Mustang, the current sales of the muscle car, this is kind of really the only one left in the breed. This is the only one kind of still around. So when you look at it, this is just not another good look for Ford. Like I said, the fact that this is the 32nd recall they have issued this year, this just sucks because Ford it feels like every week we're covering one of their recalls. They're in the news, and they are by far leading the pack. And recalls aren't necessarily a bad thing. It's always, sometimes a recall can actually be really good because it shows that, especially depending on the recall, hey, manufacturers are still looking into the vehicle, and they're still, seeing, hey, is this vehicle and its components still good long term, which can speak a lot to manufacturers when, even if they've sold millions of vehicles, they're willing to come out and say, hey, we did something wrong, but we still want to do all of our customers, not only on the new ones, but the older ones, we still want to do it right. So recalls can be actually a very good thing, in all honesty. This, however, though, is not a good recall, and the fact that when we see from Ford, this is the 32nd recall this year. We have covered vehicles that were over 10 years old that have major recalls. And the fact that we're covering something like this, that is a relatively modern, model, something that's not really too old, only a few years old tops, this just does not look good for Ford, on top of all the other issues we've had that we have covered regarding their EVs, regarding their the Bronco and the Bronco Escape and the Bronco Sport and things like that. All those kind of, Escape, not Bronco Escape, but all the other vehicles that we've had covering Ford. This is just not a good look for Ford. And like I said, the fact that this is a relatively modern model year, this is only within about, you could argue about 1 to 2 years old. That shows a lot when you have a modern, current model year, or relatively current, and the fact that you're still having issues. This does not give a lot of consumers confidence within the brand who are looking to go to Ford, and it also doesn't give current owners that confidence as well. And if I was a Mustang owner, to hear that kind of recall over a torque sensor which couldn't be calibrated properly, which could cause the steering wheel to turn to one side against the driver's intentions, if I'm hearing that correctly, I'm taking that as potentially my vehicle, I might be turning right and my vehicle might turn left. Like I said, sometimes recalls can be really good, and they can actually benefit the company, and they can actually benefit the confidence that consumers have in it. Whether even if it is a serious recall, whether it's something they're looking at long term to make sure that their vehicles actually are lasting to the point which they designed them to. But when we look at something like this, we look at the type of recalls Ford has had in the last few years, and especially we look at the type of recalls they've had this year, and as we've covered on this channel many times, issuing a recall and then not actually fixing the recall, and then issuing a recall to the recall to fix both of those. This is just not a good look for Ford, especially too because technically this is the last car that they make. Everything else is an SUV or a truck, so this is not a good look for Ford. This genuinely is not a good look for Ford. But like I said, if we have questions, you can contact NHTSA, you can contact Ford through email. Letters are going to be mailed starting August 5th. You can obviously contact the Ford customer service number, which is here, or you can obviously go on their website or go to a dealer and you can look for that recall number and obviously give them your VIN number. Certain models are going to be affected. Like I said, it's not going to be every single model, but considering the amount of vehicles and the amount of units that the Ford Mustang is selling, this is honestly this is a really good majority of what they're going to sell. So that is going to do it for now. Let me know what you guys and girls think down below of this. Let me know how serious of a recall do you think this is. Let me know too, like I said, this is the 32nd recall Ford has issued this year across their lineup, and we just covered the last one was like for Ford F-150 that was over 10 years old. So if you are a Ford owner or a former Ford owner, or even somebody potentially who's looking to be a future Ford owner with Ford Motor Company, let me know what you guys and girls think down below. Does this give you a lot of confidence in their vehicles? That is going to do it for now though, and like always, thanks for watching everyone.